Hey guys, thought I'd give you my review of Predator 2. Gotta give it to Danny Glover and to the late Kevin Peter Hall for their performances. I know there are reasons why this movie underperformed, and it might have more to do than just Schwarzenegger not making his return, and, as well as Elpida Carrillo. Oh, yeah, the action was awesome, really awesome. Yeah, and it was real, and they knew to keep it real. Having it set 10 years after the first one, which which is 1997, having to starting the movie off with a bang, featuring LAPD officers engaging Colombian drug cartel gangs who had them outgunned out in one of the worst streets of LA back at the time before the drug cartel that from Mexico were called in to try to, never mind, sorry. Anyway, yeah, I was getting off topic. Yeah, their leader, Scorpio, and as soon as the main character of the film, Mike Harrigan, police lieutenant, shows up, he helps turn the tables around by leading the by helping lead his squad further up to closer to the enemy. He gets in the car, yeah, and with his partner and takes out some of the drug cartels. As soon as they started getting outmaneuvering them, their leader and others fled into the building, looking to restack and reload. But then, then came the predator of the film, cloaked, having spotted all the guys in there after watching the face-off between them and the police. Why did it go after those guys and not everyone? Well, because they had the most guns. They were more heavily armed than the police, and they were holding innocent people hostage at the same time. Soon as Harrigan and his team came into the building, they found the hostages, but then he pursues Scorpio, who was shocked in horror by the attack of the Predator. As he runs up the building after killing one of the SWAT officers, Harrigan chases after him, and then, soon as Scorpio spots the Predator, he screamed, was about to try to shoot the Predator, but then got taken out by Harrigan, thinking he was crazy or something, and he fell to his death while the rest of his men were inside, slaughtered and strung up by the Predator. The who in this movie is given the code name City Hunter. Soon as Harrigan went back down to regroup with his team, he saw the massacre. He saw the dead bodies and found one of the goons strung up, whose corpse was later taken back by the Predator. Anyway, his character he's putting up with a lot of heat he's getting from Chief of Police, played by Robert Davi, who a year ago appeared as the villain from James Bond, License to Kill, 16th Bond movie. Now playing a feisty, hot-headed police officer who is against Harrigan going in on his own without warrants or orders from him. And enter Gary Busey, who's said to have worked with Glover in a movie action film before this one. This time acts as someone who is telling him to stop going out, to not get too involved in such actions. Next, the Predator starts killing a gang of Jamaican voodoo thugs who are raping a whore and having strung up a crime boss and then executed him. Then got themselves taken out one by the Predator. Kills one of them he traps inside a net, who ends up getting shot to death by his own gang and starts shooting and stabbing the rest to death, including the leader of the raid. Yeah, and it hung up all their bodies, carved them, skinned them down to the flesh and bone, but left it spared no one except it killed 54 people. 54 people in that building were killed. The only survivor was the whore, who was hiding in the corner from where the scared and was escorted out of there by the rescue units. Yeah. Yeah, that's where they were starting to learn. That's where Harrigan and his crew started to learn it. Then he had his friend. Harrigan had his partner break into the crime scene to try to collect any evidence on the mysterious attacker, but ends up getting killed by that attacker, who was definitely the second Predator city hunter, just for holding a pistol and for trying to take one of his weapons. Yeah, this definitely got Harrigan enraged, and he definitely wanted payback, even if it meant going against every officer's orders to stand down. He later ran into the leader of the Jamaican thugs who were slaughtered in the building, called King Willie, who then got his head cut off by the Predator and had it shaved, sculpted all the way down to the bone, and held it as a trophy, just like his brethren from the first movie did. Yeah. Sure, this movie is definitely not some kind of a rehash. It was way too soon for it to be called a rehash. It's definitely a sequel, and it just adds features how predators adapt in different environments. Well, then you got, let's see. I'm trying to think. Then Mike goes to the cemetery to pay his respect to Danny. The Predator spotted a little boy with a toy gun, but thank God he lets the child live while remaining invisible and lets him return to his parents unharmed and alive, thank goodness. Of course, the creature strung up the pendant to Mike's friend and former partner. And it kind of started to drive him even more nuts. Later on, Leona and Jerry, two members of Mike's unit, were on a train, having spotted a gang raping a girl, with a few passengers inside that same car, armed with handguns and stuff, and it was so many weapons that it was enough to lure the Predator right into the train car, sparing none of who were armed. It killed every armed individual on the train, all except for Leona, who was actually pregnant. Thank God. But for her partner Jerry, he was not so lucky. And when Mike discovered that his body was missing, he ran down the tunnel to discover his head being yanked out of his body by the Predator. And it's precisely the same skull that you would see the Predator holding on to on the cover to the second film, even the posters. He was played by Bill Paxton, who just died 8 years ago. Yeah, now it gets interesting. Jerry's death was definitely got Mike even more enraged into pursuing him, chasing him out of the subway tunnels and out into the urban jungle with people everywhere. Yeah, he was not going to give up. But soon as he came to where the creature was hiding over at an abandoned meat factory, he was intercepted by 3 federal agents who brought him over to Gary Busey's character Keys, who then joined a squad of his federal agents in hunting the Predator himself after briefing him about the events from the first film and what they learned about the alien species. Sadly, the unit was no match. And then each of them started getting taken out one by one, and the only one that was left standing was Keyes, who was about to get finished off, but was saved by Mike Harrigan's arrival inside the meat factory. He engages the Predator a bit, having shot several wounds into the creature's body. Then, as he took the mask off, the Predator regained consciousness and was about to try to kill him, but then Keyes recovered, and then, telling Mike to stay out of his way, all he did was give his life to save Harrigan, so that he would live to chase the Predator even further. But soon as they got out, Harrigan was on the ledge of a building with the Predator holding on to him, looking to commit suicide with the very same device that killed his brethren out in the jungle of Guatemala in the first film. However, it was thanks to that razor disc of his. Mike used it to slice the Predator's left hand off, stopping the device in his hand on his wrist from going off. And soon as Mike tries to get himself back into position on pursuing the alien, the Predator himself went inside the bathroom he just fell into, took pieces of concrete off the wall and used it to patch himself back up with the help of his own medical equipment. After that, he goes down an elevator, and with Mike pursuing him, only then for him to discover the alien spaceship hidden underneath Los Angeles. Soon as he goes inside the ship, it was misty and it was weary. The Predator tried to take him out with his own nets, but Harrigan was lucky he had the razor disc in his hand to cut himself free immediately. Then, after getting overpowered a bit by the 7.3 foot tall menace, Mike was able to kill the Predator with his own disc by first shoving it right into his stomach and then raises it up close to his collarbone and heart and kills him. Then more Predators showed up, and as soon as Mike dropped the discs, they spared him, took off with their dead comrade, and the leader of the group gave Mike the pistol that was made in 1715, which gives Mike more clues that they've been on Earth, that they've been visiting Earth longer than they realized. After Mike survived the liftoff from the engine, he makes his way out of the tunnel, only to be found and escorted back by fellow police officers in the end. Man, that was something. Yeah, that was quite a movie. Now, do I think this is better than... Well, do I think that this movie is more watchable than Guns? Well, not... No, well... Would I recommend this to be watchable? Well, only for people 17 and up. Yeah, it's even more intense than the first one. First movie in 87 was all about survival of the fittest. This movie in 1990 was definitely all about revenge. Yeah. And I could see why they didn't bother going on with another sequel until 2010, and which featured Adam Brody and Alice Braga. Yeah. I'm not even sure what the main issue was other than Schwarzenegger's departure from the second from the franchise, but it was still fun. I definitely would if you're 18 and over, I would definitely recommend seeing it. Thank you again, guys. Sergeant Garatina out.